The Oura Ring looks at your REM sleep, your light sleep, your deep sleep, and when you're awake. And so the Oura Ring generates a score for you every morning. And sometimes it includes naps in there. It's not always the best at capturing naps. It's one of my frustrations about it, but from what I've looked into, it's better at capturing naps than many of the other apps out there, one of the wearables. But the Oura Ring it gives you a score between 0 and 100 as to how well you did with your sleep. It's looking at when you went to sleep, how consistent that was, how often you woke up, how quickly it took for you to fall asleep. It can get into respiration and some of those other things of sleep with the heavier, the later editions of like the Oura Ring Generation 4 versus the Generation 2. But it's going to look at your ratio of deep sleep, your ratio of REM sleep. I find all that to be useful information. Sometimes people can have sort of overload of information. I want people to realize that it's not as straightforward as I slept for 8 hours. Isn't that great? You can have a really bad 8 hours of sleep where you were tossing and turning and it wasn't comfortable and it wasn't really a restorative sleep. And you can have a really efficient 6-hour sleep sometimes. And that can be captured by the ring as to how well your sleep was, how efficient it was, and what you got out of it. Anytime you're using a fitness tracker or a sleep tracker, it's important to realize that the goal is not to get great scores. The goal is to feel better. So notice what the scores tell you and then relate that to how you feel. If you think of light sleep as when you're first sort of drifting off to sleep, when you're more easily woken in the night and you may or may not be dreaming, but you might sort of be sort of daydreaming or just sort of that light, gentle sleep. Deep sleep is when you are out and you are likely not dreaming. You might be having some deep, heavier feelings, but that's sort of a deep restorative time. Then you have the REM sleep, which stands for REM, rapid eye movement. So you are asleep, you're dreaming, your eyes are closed, but your eyes are moving around. And you actually have what's referred to as sleep paralysis, where your body keeps you from getting up and moving. Now we've heard of conditions where people sleepwalk and such, and that's when people have had an inhibition of that sleep paralysis while they're dreaming. So they might get up and act out some degree of their dreams. Similarly, there are conditions where people have sleep paralysis where they're awake and their brain hasn't quite shifted to letting them move. And those are conditions that I'm not going to get into too much in this video. But you've got your REM sleep, and REM is really important for brain function. It's helping to organize how your thoughts from the previous day, winnow out what's important and what's not. There's a lot of theories as to why we dream. But suffice to say, both deep sleep and REM sleep are important, and sleep overall, which includes deep, REM, and light sleep, are important. There is some benefit to just having constructive, restful, awake times. That might not be captured entirely as positive in the ring. I want people to realize that just because you're awake doesn't mean that that's wasted time. That might be recovery time that is important.